In this video done by Amanda Salario, Jessica Camelo, and Anna-Kathryn Davis, we are discussing the differences between same-sex and coeducational schools. We found research studies comparing multiple aspects of the education in these schools, and we also will discuss our own personal experiences in these school systems.
I attended an all-girls high school. I went to St. Joseph's Academy in Baton Rouge, and I really liked the school here. I really liked the fact that I could just wake up in the morning and didn't have to put makeup on or worry about what I looked like. I just went to school to learn, and I didn't have guys in the classroom, so I don't feel like we were as distracted as people who went to co-ed schools. And I feel like the educational side of it was really good. However, the social side of it, not having guys integrated in the classrooms, it definitely was a harder transition for me into college, being at a college with not only, guys and girls, but also a very diverse population of different cultures that I didn't have in my high school. So I think that the transition was definitely harder socially.
I attended a co-ed high school in Hammond, Louisiana, and I felt that my education background was very successful for my transition into college. I also really liked how my social skills really helped with the transition in college because there's a lot of girls and guys in the classroom. College is a very diverse campus, and having this background really helped me prepare myself for group projects and interacting with different types of people. I believe that every student should attend a co-ed school because the transition will be very easy and they will be prepared for the college atmosphere. Going to a co-ed school was very beneficial for my education and my social skills.
Hi, my name is Anna-Kathryn Davis, and I attended St. Joseph's Academy in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. It is an all-girls Catholic high school, and this factor made transitioning into LSU for college even more difficult and scary than if I would have attended a co-ed school. The reason being that on top of being on your own for the first time and having a lot of newfound freedom, there were boys in my classes and group projects, which I wasn't used to at all. I think that if I went to a co-ed school, it would have made transitioning into college a much easier and less scary transition.
We interviewed our roommate, Olivia Messina, and asked her a couple questions of her experience in high school and the transition into college as she attended a co-ed public high school.
Hi, I'm Olivia. I'm Jessica's roommate, and I'm a senior here at LSU.
Okay, so where did you attend high school?
I attended Destrehan High School, which is a co-ed high school near the New Orleans area in Destrehan, Louisiana.
How do you feel about the education provided to you at this high school?
The education provided to me at Destrehan High School was a great transition going from high school to college, specifically because it was a co-ed high school. I think that really prepared me for the types of classes that I was going to be in, sitting in rooms with boys and girls, different situations and scenarios that I would be put in. Also, it prepared me for the big environment that LSU would be. Destrehan is not the biggest high school in Louisiana, but it is has classes with a lot of students. So it prepared me for having to meet a lot of new people in my classes and have a lot of people around me with a big campus like this.
What were the teachers like?
The teachers at Destrehan were definitely very welcoming anytime you needed anything, but they were also very understanding for any types of questions you had. But they did prepare for college when getting to know that a professor here may not always answer the questions that you want, and you have to go to them when you need questions. And I think that that's one of the biggest differences in especially my high school and LSU is that in college you have to go to the professor to ask the question, but in high school a lot of the teachers would come to you, especially at Destrehan. They would confront you if you had any questions or concerns about anything.
What were the students like?
The student population at Destrehan was very diverse, and there were so many different people to get to know. Especially myself, I was very involved at Destrehan High School, so I got to know a lot of different people there. So I think the one word I would describe the students at Destrehan is very diverse, and I think that also prepared me very well for college here at LSU.
Describe your transition from high school to college. Was it difficult or were you well prepared?
My transition from high school to college, I felt very well prepared, especially and specifically for one reason, the diversity that Destrehan prepared me with. Coming from a co-ed high school where I was around boys all the time, around so many different cultures all the time, I felt that when I came to LSU, I was able to open up to so many other different people because as all LSU students know, there's so many different types of people and cultures on this campus. So I feel like the way I was prepared in that aspect really prepared me for college, and the openness and getting to know all kinds of different people.
After interviewing Olivia, we found out that her education at a co-ed public school was very successful for her transition to college.
We found 3 studies that compared and contrasted the differences between co-ed and same-sex schools. The first study we found was called School Type in the Education of Girls, Co-ed or Girls Only, and the study was done in New Zealand that compared the achievement levels of girls in an all-female school versus those in co-educational schools. And a popular belief in New Zealand is that single-sex schools are held in greater esteem by the community, and these schools have a very selective admission policies. So the study basically analyzed data from a longitudinal study of 5,000 people in 37 secondary schools. And after they did this study, they found that the popular belief that girls will do better academically in same-sex schools wasn't true. There was actually no true difference between the education of girls in co-ed schools versus same-sex schools.
The second article that we found was titled, "Should the Sexes Be Separated for Secondary Education? Comparison of Single-Sex and Co-Educational Schools." This study looked into the old debate about whether single-sex or co-educational schooling is better for secondary education. This study considers both the claimed academic and social advantages. They did an in-depth interviews of 100 students and found that same-sex schools that had higher academic achievements was not due to the separation of sexes, but due to the education itself. Studies also showed that students who attended the same-sex schools fear that they would have a harder transition into college and society. Co-ed schools are found to prepare the students better socially. Parents who attended a co-ed school are more likely to send their children to a co-ed school. But people who attended the same-sex schools are not likely to send their children to the same-sex schools.
The third article we found was The High School Environment, a comparison of coeducational and single-sex schools. In the article, it talks about how coeducational schools place less emphasis on discipline and control and more emphasis on making education more enjoyable and pleasurable for the students. The article also said that their results found that it is not true that co-educational schools have less academic achievement than single-sex schools.
While it may seem like a new development in education, single-sex schools have actually been around since way before the 19th century. Many sources have shown that the transition to co-ed schools has been increasingly growing throughout the years. We predict that in the future, single-sex schools may no longer be around, as many people believe that co-ed provides a more socially inclusive environment and will better prepare students for the real world. After reviewing our own personal experiences, discussing with others, and researching the topic, we believe that co-educational schools are more beneficial for the transition to college. These schools are shown to not only prepare students academically, but also socially.